they're well worth checking. Like he's just released a vinyl, it's really good, man.
Oh, a vinyl,
Yeah.
not an actual thing, you know.
No, that's the same with me, man. It's like it's nice. We kind of both released something really recently.
Okay.
It's good.
Now, because I'm thinking, what is there like? No, because no one released vinyls or any physical stuff. It's all streaming now, isn't it?
Yeah.
So that's why I'm thinking vinyl. That's weird, bro. That's very weird.
Nah, it's nice, man. It's like nice having something physical.
Woo woo. Yeah, but I never the vinyl. I've only had. Have I had vinyls? I haven't had vinyls. No, I never had vinyls. But I've had like obviously CDs. I had cassettes at one point when I was super young, but I never got in. It was just in the end of cassettes.
Yeah.
Just in the end of cassettes, you're just like, fuck, like, that's mad, bro. You know what I mean? But no, vinyls is crazy because the vinyls are starting to come back, but it's not like a serious thing.
No, it is though, man. That's the thing, because like it's gone crazy. Like it outsold any other physical CD, like physical sales of any kind. Like last year, and it has been. It's like constantly on a rise with it. Like it's good, man. It's it's nice that it's kind of really seeing a resurgence with it.
Yeah, that's good though. That's very interesting to see. So yeah, I'm trying to get your levels right because I'm thinking, are you do you talk like
I'm relatively quiet?
Yeah, that's what I'm because I literally just put it on small. A little bit up, and it became cool, but it was looked like too loud. And then now I put it back. I'm like, it's annoying, bro.
It's all good, man.
Now there you go. There you go. Great levels right there. There you go. You know the ones that you just, I don't know, cause I when was it? 2000 when I started doing the pod, I only used Audacity.
Oh, okay, fair enough.
The basic Audacity, bro.
Yeah.
Free. And then obviously my friend hooked me up with Logic, so
Logic's so much better, man. Yeah,
everyone
I
says
use
this.
Logic.
What was it? A few studios that I've been to, that I've recorded at, they usually use Cubase.
Yeah.
Cubase is a good one as well. I don't know how efficient though. I don't know how efficient Cubase is.
I don't like it, man. I used to use it. Like, I started with Cool Edit, and then kind of moved on to Cubase, and then tried Ableton for a bit. But I love Logic.
Logic,
it's really
yeah,
good.
Logic. I feel Logic you can actually do a bit more.
Yeah, you can.
It's weird to say, but
no, you can.
yeah, it's a bit weird to say, but yeah, you could do a lot more with Logic though. You could definitely do a lot more with Logic, especially if you're a Mac user.
Yeah.
I'm assuming you're a Mac user as well.
Yeah.
You Microsoft motherfuckers are annoying, bruv.
Nah, I haven't. I had a few PCs before Mac, but then they'd always crash or they'd always be slow. Like when I was teaching workshops, they'd just die or something, and it just wouldn't work, man. And I kind of got to the point where I just thought, nah, forget it.
Yeah. That's interesting though. That's interesting. What type of workshops did you do?
Music. So like I was traveling around the country. So like I was teaching lyric writing and production and all sorts of things, man.
Sick.
So yeah, it was good. Like it was great. Like it was really mixed. So I mean, I started off. I was a waiter. So I was living in Birmingham, and I was a waiter, and I'd seen some of my friends who were doing like bits and bobs. So my friend Basics, who's a beatboxer, he was starting to do a few workshops around London. I was like, okay, this sounds kind of cool. Like, I like the idea of this.
Yeah.
And I was just banging on doors, trying to get a workshop, something, like anything. I was just trying to blag my way into the industry. And then eventually I got one where I worked with some kids for a day, made a couple of beats, wrote lyrics with them, and got paid. I was like, hang on, this is amazing. Like, I get to make music, work with some cool kids, and I get paid for this. And I'm getting paid like triple what I'd get paid as a waiter on a good day. It was like, well, hang on a minute. Yeah, that's cool. Like, I like the idea of this. And then it took over, man. Like I linked up with these guys in London, and they just offered me these workshops all over the place. So like I was traveling up to like Manchester and Leeds and down to London a lot, and having crazy days where like I I'd get like the 5 a.m. coach in Birmingham, travel down to London, teach until 3, come back up, and then do waiting at night, and then like do that like a number of times a week. And it just got to the point where it's like, hang on a minute, like I can actually do this now, like this is sustainable. And it was great. Like at the time there was money, so like there was money in youth work, and like
when money is like, if it makes money and you're just like, I think I'm okay now with that's incredible, bro. Incredible.
It was great. And it was like the projects that we were doing as well, just they really meant something. Like I was working with the Symphony Hall in Birmingham, and like we were working on some crazy projects. Well, like there was a Twin Cities project between Birmingham and a town in Sierra Leone, and the kids in both cities were getting to know about the culture in the different places. So like they were learning about their stories, and then after a couple of months they created a piece that was based around that. So they created a theatrical piece around it. So these,
as in like, audio, or like also in like theater.
Like so they made music about it. They acted some stuff. They mimed elements. So like there was a piece where these kids created this scene where they were children just playing, and then soldiers came along and just took them, and like it was really powerful, and did stuff like that. Then there was a project where I was live remixing orchestras, so it was like youth orchestras from around the country.
Is that almost like similar, like this producer called Arab Music? He live MPC live, like on not even on a DJ set, like he doesn't use decks, he just uses an MPC to create beats and freestyles it at the same time during like almost like a live show for a DJ set. So he's done like beats for like obviously Swiss and I think Swiss was one, and then he did one for like ASAP Rocky when that craze was popping when he started. Then obviously Davies and various other rappers, and and he's got like, and he was just using MPC. So I'm gonna shoot bits like that, like you're doing with the orchestra as well.
It was crazy. I mean, like, so basically the way it was working was like they didn't know what they wanted, so like they just basically gave me this feed in from the desk and just said, right, here's the feed, do whatever you want. And after about like 15-20 minutes, I just had this crazy amount of music. I was like, right, can I just ask the orchestra to do things? And I'm like, yeah, sure. So like I was asking the orchestra to do like little stabs or trills or like pizzicato bits, or like asking them to like rise and fall, and then just recording that. And then like I literally had like 5-10 minutes to chop this stuff up and make it into a quick beat. So they had a break to go eat their sandwiches, and then came back and they were like, they had a new track. And it was crazy. So like there was 3 orchestras. The biggest one was 97 piece. It was mad. But yeah, it was amazing. Yeah. And all of that, like trying to control that and turn it into something, like it was amazing though. Those kind of projects. Like I had one workshop where I went down to London, and this company I was working for were useless, and they never told people what my skills were. So the school thought they booked a beatbox workshop, and I don't beatbox.
Yeah.
So like I went down
How
there.
could you?
Yeah. So like I went down and I was ready to do like a lyric writing session, and then the whole school was there. It was a whole primary school, so it was like 600 kids, and they were like, right, so how do you teach beatbox normally? I was like, I don't, but I can try. So I literally I split these kids up into packs of like 100+ kids. So like, right, you're a kick drum, you're a snare, you're a hi-hat, you're gonna go yo, you're gonna do a scratch noise, like, and I broke these kids up in these packs of hundreds, and like they just made this beat.
That's
like,
cool though.
It was cool.
I
mean,
great improvisation, bro.
It was mad.
Because just to think that company literally said, we can get you a beatboxer, and you've never beatboxed in your life. That's scumbaggery.
It was crazy.
Scumbaggery.
It was mad. It definitely kept me on my toes, like to the point where I mean now I can go, because I teach now, so like I work with some guys called Boom Satsuma, so like I teach media to like 16 to 18 year olds. But I mean I've worked with young offenders, I've worked with like high achievers from age 3 to 69. Like,
You got a range.
Yeah, so it's like got to this point where like I'm not really phased in terms of when I walk in. It's like I'll be alright. Like, it's kind of
You're not gonna. It's hard to say. You're not gonna be like a person that's hard to deal with.
Yeah.
You're not. Yeah. It's natural. It's natural. It's a natural thing. So
yeah.
that's always a great thing.
Oh, but dude, there's been some crazy stuff. It's like so in Birmingham, I was working with these kids who they were in a Peru, so like they were really kind of struggling in terms of what they were doing and where their lives were leading, I guess. And like some of the madness that went on with them was crazy. So like there was this kid who was trying to sell a samurai sword to the class, and
was this like when there was a point recently this year, like there's loads of kids that were like handing in knives and machetes and so forth. Was that at that time?
No, man, this was a while ago. So like this was, I don't know, 7-8 years back.
Oh, that's
and
what?
Like, yeah, and like
they were selling samurai swords. They think they were on smoke. Samurai Jack in them, man.
It was crazy.
Wow.
So yeah, like literally, he brought it in, and this kid was saying to the others, he was like, I mean, this kid was big as well. Like no one generally messed with him anyway, because he was like the big scary kid. And then at the same time, he's like come wielding a samurai sword. It's like, okay, so like
everything more intimidating.
Yeah,
like
so like we were trying to kind of work out what we could do in terms of like the situation. So like I ended up where I was like, hey, wait, like I think my uncle might be interested in that, and like managed to kind of
wow, you guys got it off him.
Yeah,
sick.
Like I'll just take some pictures and stuff, but obviously like I ended up taking the pictures and giving it to the police. But like, man, it was mental. Like, but the amount of things that happened with that stuff, man. But like, I loved all that stuff, and it just it's kind of.
And how long was that ago?
I've been doing workshops for years. I still do them. So like I still do stuff at UE. So like I teach production there. So like I've done like hip hop production stuff there, and like I run an annual hip hop event called Amplify for them as well. Because like, I've been part of Wordplay magazine for I don't know, like 7 years now. So like I used to be the managing editor, and like now. I concentrate on like the event side and education and that side. So like
that's cool.
Yeah, man, it was good. So like last year we had an event at Trinity. So like we had Barney Artist headlining and the Allergies and like all sorts of different artists. It was great. And then like this year it was really low key. So like it was at Basement 45 and it was
45,
Yeah, it was good, man. It was like a whole bunch of local artists, quite a few MCs and so on from the uni, and then at the same time we had this guy called XP come down who's amazing.
XP.
Yeah, so like it was his first Bristol performance as well.
Oh, okay.
So
cool.
Yeah, it was good. So like
That's
he came down from Leeds, and I love that stuff, man. It's like I really like kind of trying to stay active within the scene in like different ways.
That's cool.
Yeah, like I've been producing music for plays and sort of various things, man. It's just kind of nice to feel like it's building bit by bit, and
that's always good.
Yeah,
that's definitely always good. That's always good, man. That's always good.
Because otherwise it just, you kind of end up creatively stagnant, don't you? Like where it just you get to this point where it's like, I mean, because my daughter's 10 now, and when
how
she was
how is that though? Like for you're basically like into a genre that is, there's a lot of swearing. There's a lot of swearing. So how do you deal with that in the sense of just
I think part of it is that it's generational in the sense that now, because hip hop's getting older, there's lots of parents within it as well. So, in London, there's people like Fundy MC who like do kid-friendly hip-hop events. Like, there's lots of people who are making more. I mean, I love lyrical hip-hop anyway. I kind of came up through through like Tribe Called Quest and The Roots and
yes, sir.
That kind of vibe. So like I love that sound. And in the UK, like people like Ty and I love music that's
Sway
kind of less,
and Sway was that guy as well.
That kind of era and that kind of sound. So like I like more reflective stuff anyway. But I guess at the same time, it's like with my music, I've always tried to strive for stuff that hasn't really got swearing in it, and it's trying to, even if it has, it's got a bit more of a positive message. So you know, like
that's interesting to see.
It's hard though. I mean, like I'm on my side. I mean, I love like funk and soul and, you know, all sorts really. Like I love dubstep and parts of D&B and classical and anything, man. I just love music. You know, like my dad grew me up on loads of stuff. So I guess when it comes to my daughter, it's like it does have to be filtered. And like there's certain things where I kind of think, okay, will she latch on to that? Is it too quick? But like, you know, generally it's fine. But I mean, in part, like as much as she's 10, she has Down syndrome. So like so there's kind of, she has a little bit more of a limited understanding in terms of language. But on her side, like she loves music, man. I mean, when she was tiny, she used to fall asleep next to speakers. Like she...
I'm going to assume like you play only certain genres then.
To a certain degree.
Because, what is it? Because I used to work in a trampoline park. Okay. So we get a lot of special needs kids.
Yeah.
Pass through, and I think we had someone with a Down syndrome or some type of special needs condition, and they had to wear earmuffs.
Yeah.
Or you couldn't play certain type of music at a certain level, and certain things like that. So, is that a thing as well?
To be honest, man, I think like when she came along, like I kind of had this view where I just thought, you know what, she can do anything. She's gonna be fine. Like there's gonna be no issues, and like I really buried my head in the sand.
Yeah.
But I think that really helped in terms of I didn't treat her with like, well, kind of cotton mitts where it was just like, right, okay, protect her. I just thought, well, she's going to do what I do. If I'm going to the studio, she's coming to the studio. Like, if I'm going to a festival, she's coming to a festival. Like, she's going to meet my friends. She's going to do what any other kid would do.
Facts.
And I think, like, it got to the point where she had a rough beginning. You know what I mean? Like, she had quite a few operations, like heart operations and stomach and operation, bladder, all sorts of things. But she's an amazing little fighter, you know.
Yeah, that's always good, because I've obviously seen like a load of people that are that on social media anyway that do a lot of GoFundMes and other stuff like that to help the children, obviously, because of obviously the certain conditions. So it's weird to say that I'm not shocked by that hearing this type of a story.
Yeah.
I think it's just due to social media. Like, we have so much information just going everywhere.
Yeah.
So we're just like, whoa. I'm like, okay, I'm desensitized by this now, and I'm like, this is not really a shocking story to me anymore, or so forth. So it's kind of like, it's weird to say. It's actually weird to say, though.
It's quite weird with Downs, though, in terms of it feels quite isolating, because I guess it's like with anyone who's got any condition where like there's if you've got this kid who comes into the world, you hear the stats and you think, okay, so there's other people who are in this situation. But then when she was little, like I'd take her to support groups, and she was by far the most able. And it's like, okay, well, for them that's all right, like, because it's like for them it's inspiring. But on my side, it's like, okay, but where's the kids like her? Where's the parents like me? You know,
yeah.
And to be honest, even now I kind of find it where it's like, you know, I find it difficult that most of my friends, you know, they're creative in some way, whether it's a case of they do art or music, or they're just, I guess, a bit more free thinking than your average. Because it's like I've ended up in that situation. But when it comes to the parents I meet who've got kids with Downs, like it's harder to link in that sense. You know, and like I've kind of struggled to get that bit set up. And I think even now it's like it's been 10 years, but you kind of think, okay, it's those kind of challenges that you don't anticipate, where I'll take her to a friend's house, but because she's in a different environment, then her way of responding is that she'll act out in some way so that then she's got attention, so she feels safe. But when you kind of flip that as a parent, it's like you're constantly on edge then, where, you know, I'll have people say, oh yeah, it's just like toddlers. It's like, okay, yeah, you might have a toddler who for a patch of 1 or 2 years is doing something. After 10 years, they still can't talk to you properly. They still can't sleep fully. They're still potentially, having toilet issues or this, that, and the other. Like, it's
one of
it's
my
challenges that's
I've
kind of crazy.
definitely one of my family friends, their child's got special needs. He didn't learn how to speak properly until quite late. And he didn't really socialize much until maybe I'm not too sure, like maybe a few years ago he started to talk more, bit more energetic. He was always like he was just about, like, he was just running around, or just because he just didn't like being sat still a lot.
But she's like that. She's really active, and I mean, she's an amazing little girl. I mean,
that's amazing.
The thing is that I think with her, like, because she's into everything, like, it's quite funny because she just like bucks the stereotype of, oh yeah, people with Downs are really placid, and they're really, and it's like she is not that.
Well, there are cases of that. I have while I was working in trampoline, but you get various like versions of Down syndrome. So some are active, some are very not reserved, but they're like, they don't want to leave from the parent. They only stick to the parent. They nothing, like, regardless if they're out of the trampoline park or not, they will always just stick to them. Like, they don't want people touching them. It's like it's a different thing, which is an interesting thing as well. So,
but I guess the thing is that the thing that I learned with all of this stuff as well is, like, it, because there's different types of Downs, because there's a spectrum within it. I mean, she has Trischem 21, which is a particular genetic, they say defect, but there's different types, and obviously within there, like with autism, there's a spectrum, but then on top of that, then there's how the parents respond to that. So it's like, it's then the kind of nature and nurture element of it, where you think, okay, how you deal with that situation really makes a difference as well.
Facts.
So it's an interesting one, man. I mean, she's made me weaker and stronger infinitely.
It's only natural. It's natural.
I mean, when she came along, within 3 months, I was like, I need to do something creative. So I decided to start a band. It was like, okay, this probably isn't the normal response, but it's kind of like, I needed to do something.
I was just thinking, like, 3 years old, there's a band right in front of my face. I'm like, huh?
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, I want to play toys.
Yeah,
I don't want to band, bro.
Yeah,
but nah, that's interesting though.
It was cool though. I mean, it kind of, I think I kind of got to that point where, like, I've always, one of the ways that I've dealt with lots of different things is just being creative. Like, making music is like my biggest stress reliever. I try and do yoga, like, I try and run, I try and do different things, but just making beats or like playing piano or something, it just soothes.
You get. I think I get kind of the same thing when I'm kind of like editing.
Yeah.
To a degree, but I'm still kind of finding my way in the creative sense, because this is creative, but you never know what else I could be doing. So it's kind of like I'm still kind of discovering myself to a certain degree in creativity, but also trying to balance life, work, other stuff. It's like it's annoying, but it's got to be done as well. It's got to be done. It's weird that we're already halfway through and you haven't actually introduced yourself. There's no intros, there's nothing, literally nothing. We just talked about some deep stuff and we just nothing. But I think it's only right for yourself to introduce yourself and what you do.
So I mean, so my name's James Kenneby, or Vice Beats. So like I'm a producer, like, so I make hip hop and soul and TV music, but at the same time, I'm a teacher, promoter, part of Wordplay magazine, so like run events for them and various other things. So
sick.
lots of different bits, man. I do podcasts, and that's lapsed a little bit over time, but done various things like that. So lots of stuff, man. Been making hip hop for longer than I care to remember.
What was your first introduction?
Oh man, well, actually, I think there was a few things. So like when I was little, well, I say little, I don't know, when I was like 13, 14, I did an exchange trip to France, and I stayed with this kid who was a complete dick, but like he because he was around, like at the time, like he was in this skate scene, and one of his friends, it's weird the way you remember this stuff, like his friend Max like was making his own skate ramp. So like we were there each day, and like he was making this concrete skate ramp in the back garden. And,
Concrete.
Yeah.
Jesus.
And so they were working on that and creating all that side of things. And at the time they were playing loads of different music. When I left, he made me this tape, and it had a whole bunch of different things on it, but it also had I Am and NTM, which are like amazing French crews. I didn't have a clue who they were, and like, to be honest, I didn't have a clue who they were until about 10 years after, when one of my friends who's from France, like, he's a massive hip-hop fan, like he was, we'd kind of bugged out about hip-hop for a while, and I was like, listen, I need to find this tape, and I dug around, found it was still playing, and found these tracks. He was like, that's I Am. Like,
Whoa,
so
that's
like
cold.
but I heard that, I was like, I was in love with that sound. And then when I think it was about 96, like my dad's, like I say, man, I mean, he just collected anything. He just loved music, from like jazz to blues to folk to classical to rock to everything. Like, you know, our Sundays, like, when, you know, because my parents were split up, and like I'd go and see him every other weekend, and like we'd listen to vinyls or CDs. Every single car trip was different albums, so you know, we'd listen to everything. And he got the Fugees, the score.
Woo.
And like around that time, then my friends up the roads started getting into Eminem, and there was just kind of, it was that time when
That's early 2000s. Yeah. That's
so
around early 2000s.
like,
yeah.
well, it was like 96, man. So like it was
What
96
was
and
M?
97.
What was the first Eminem album at that time?
Yeah, so like it was
Okay, I forgot. I don't
so
know, because
like-
I remember early 2000s. That's what's kind of, I was like, I heard a lot of people talk about Eminem.
Yeah,
So it
man.
wasn't
So
really...
it was crazy with him, because like he was just going up and up and up and up, and like at the time, I mean, we see, like, social media wasn't a thing really.
Nah, never.
Yeah, and like we were just hearing it from like older brothers or sisters, or you know, all that side of things. So my friends were tapping into people, because I didn't have any like siblings at all. So like they were tapping into their older siblings and friends at school who were a bit older.
We were younger. I swear, we are perfect storytellers. If you were either born in the 90s or you were raised during the 90s,
Yeah,
you are good storytellers. I don't.
Yeah.
Early 2000s, nowhere. You're not touching
Communication.
Yeah,
just-
their information is all on social media. Like, it's incredible.
Interesting, man.
It's
I mean,
mad.
when I noticed it with like working with kids on lyric writing over time as well, just seeing the way that language has changed, and the way that they write, and the way that they perceive their lives as well.
That's
It's
mad.
like, it's less about experiences, and it's more about perception, and the way they look, and the way that other people are seeing them, and all that side of things. And it's sad, really. You know, I mean, I remember being a little kid where it's like, I don't know,
But,
like we'd have building work in the house, and it'd be like, yeah, sure, you can play around with the sand, and it's like, now it's like, no, you can't touch the building sand, there might be this in it, and it's like,
It's
kids are too shielded.
Yeah, I think no. I get you, but there are reasons because of the information we
Yeah.
have, and if back in the day we never had these answers.
Yeah,
Now we
yeah.
do, so it's like,
It's a weird one, isn't it? It's like trying to
Yeah.
find the right mix with it, where
yeah,
it's like,
it's the right mix. But
it's just, I mean, I look at my little girl sometimes, and just, she has an iPad, and annoyingly, like I bought that because her school at the time said, oh, look, we'll get all these apps on for you, get all this learning stuff on there. They never did it. So she ended up with this like nice iPad with like some big chunky case on it. She thought it was amazing. But like now it's just, she's like so many other kids, where she's just staring at YouTube Kids. You know, and like,
but I'm not
doing
gonna
no other
lie.
purpose,
Sometimes,
man.
but I'm not gonna lie. Sometimes YouTube, you can learn so much.
Yeah, well, that's the
Yeah.
thing, man.
You
I
gotta
think
filter
like,
it out.
I'm all right with it. Like, there's certain things where, like, certain days, it's like you can almost see that she's like open to learning more, and the things that she'll pick. Because I mean, she just like taps away.
Related.
But yeah,
I do the same thing.
Yeah,
I do the same thing.
But,
They're
like,
related.
Yeah,
I will be there for hours. I'll be there
but
for. I will
crazy.
I will go back to my history, rewatch certain things as well, just to kind of
Yeah.
like refresh myself and like whatever.
But
It's
I mean,
weird.
like, because she loves dancing, and like, there's
That's
been a
good.
few times where like, oh, I haven't even kind of, because she's got that app and it's a bit more protected. Like, I will leave her to it sometimes, and then she'll just come out with these dance moves that she seems to have just like learned on rote. And it's like, how the hell do you know
Does she have
this?
TikTok?
No, she hasn't.
Don't
like,
give that.
No,
Don't give that.
definitely not, man.
The TikTok is annoying.
Yeah,
I see it too many. It's not for. I don't get it because there's young children that do TikTok as well, and I'm thinking, wow, are you really doing a TikTok dance in the middle of Cabot? Okay.
Yeah.
And I'll just look at them, and then I'm like, I'll just go away, and then I know they'll get like 100,000 views or maybe 100 views or whatever. I don't know how many, because TikTok is such growing now, and it's mad. Like, even social. That's why related to social media, like with the whole YouTube stuff, like kids are watching these kids review toys.
Yeah.
And the dad is making millions of it because
I know she's obsessed with Ryan.
bruv, like
it's like
it's
mental.
It's mental, but at the same time, it was smart because it gets kind of like it. I would say smart because it gets the children more confidence in themselves, and also in the fact of they kind of are happy in their own bubble. They're comfortable in themselves. Like,
it's a tricky one.
not just confidence.
Like,
it's not just confidence. Yeah.
Yeah, because I mean, I guess like the flip of it is that, you know, so like I've worked with quite a lot of kids who were no longer in school. So like,
Yeah.
you know, where they've just kind of gone off the rails a bit, and like there's been a few, especially lads, who you ask them what they want to do, and they're like, I want to do YouTube, and they don't know what that means, but they're kind of deluded in the sense that they've watched all of these guys on Twitch, or they've watched all these guys on YouTube, and they're like, oh yeah, like I'm gonna get a gaming station, and I'm gonna do this, and I'm gonna do that, and it's like, okay, think about how many people in the world are playing these games, how many people are sharing all of this stuff. It's so small. I mean, realistically, it's like anything creative. It's like with music, like with film stars. There's so many, so many people doing this stuff, and so much content.
If you're good, don't do YouTube. Just don't do YouTube. Don't do, like, I would say, like, I don't think children under the age of 18 shouldn't be doing YouTube, like YouTube vlogging or anything like that. There are some that have actually like made good content and stuff like that, but it's just, I'm just thinking,
that tends to be the parents, though, doesn't it? Where it's like the parents are more savvy.
Yeah, but certain parents, sometimes like from 16 onwards, between 16 and 18, they kind of control it themselves. They'll just start one, and they won't tell their parents or whatever. Like, so it's quite interesting. Quite interesting. It's mad to say, but now, like, thinking back to the hip hop stuff, like, I'm thinking my first introduction was 50 Cent.
Yeah,
because I came to the UK late, and a family friend, their son, and I was just cool with them, and they go to the room and they're playing hip hop. So like, this is during I think this was during Get Rich or Die Trying days.
Okay.
So they
like early 2000s.
Early 2000s. So they would play PIMP. They would play Snoop. They'd play I think Clips. That's when I got into Pharrell a lot. I got what else? I didn't get to discover Hove until maybe a year later, but still around the same time frame.
Yeah, because that was like Blueprint time.
Yeah,
wasn't it?
Blueprint
Like,
times. Like, I think Dirt Off Your Shoulders time.
Yeah.
Yeah, just when he was like kind of deciding whether to go, just before the Black album. But what else was there? There's Snoop, J, Nas.
Yeah.
I had Nas on there. I put Nas on there. What else?
There was crazy stuff though, wasn't there? Because like you said, I mean, Pharrell was just ruling it. Like him and Missy and Timbaland and all
Missy
that
and
lot,
Timbaland.
like,
I got into Missy and Timbaland like just after Hove.
Yeah.
Yeah, just after Hove. So because obviously the production they were making, and stuff like that. That's when Missy was like doing all the party songs, and it was
yeah.
popping. But one of my first, I never got like into vinyls or anything like till later in age. But I got my first CD was it's actually 3. So it was the Game documentary,
Nice.
Nas Nostradamus,
Okay.
and Beware of Dog by Bow Wow.
Nice.
Those were my first 3.
Balancing it
And
out.
and guess where I found them all from? Car boot sale.
Damn. Yeah.
That's where
it's
my
bad,
mom and
innit?
dad were. My family were addicted. My cousins, everybody addicted to car boot sales in the summer. Sundays, instead of going to church, or after church, or on a Saturday. I'm not too sure. I don't know how. I can't remember how car boot sales used to do, but they just go.
That's crazy.
And
man.
I was just like, they would find they'd find a few things here and there, like whatever, and I was just. No, not today. The forecast I already know, mate. But yeah, I just find that they find like old little things,
Yeah.
like to use like for like tools, or little like old jeans that they could like use for something, or like just random stuff. Like some people would sell like bikes and
Yeah.
all that stuff, and like I got a cheap bike for like £30 sometimes or whatever.
There's some random gems in those places though, in there. It's like
Yeah.
we moved house a few times, and when I met my wife, like I don't think she realised the scale of how much stuff I actually had until like we moved in together the first time, and it took me 4 days to move out of my 2-bed house.
Oh
And
shit.
she was like, "What is all of this?" It's like, but I'm like a big kid, man. It's like I collect little like vinyl figures from Japan and America, and then like
Sick.
vinyl records and trainers,
Yeah.
and like I had an insanely large amount of clothes, man, because it's like over time.
Bear Coco 9.
Well,
Bear, what you call it?
that stuff
Fubu.
had gone for a while, man.
Fubu.
Yeah, it was like
What was the other one?
yeah.
What was the other one? There was another brand in the UK everyone was addicted to.
There was the one with the rhino logo. Was it
Yeah,
Echo?
Echo. There was other stuff as well. Iniche.
Yeah.
Bare stuff like
There
people
was
were telling
loads,
me
wasn't
about.
there? I remember in Birmingham there was this shop that opened up in the station when I was at college. So I was like 16, 17, and that was around the same time when like I really got into music. Like I met this group of friends who just loved everything, like loved hip hop, soul, and like my friend had grown up in Nigeria, and like he just everything out there was so much better in terms of like there was more access to artists. So he came over, and like he knew, like properly knew music from like Lauryn Hill, but then also like loads of R&B artists, so like Case and Dwele and D'Angelo, and like all these guys that we didn't know who they were.
Dwele.
Yeah.
Whew.
That guy's
Like,
crazy.
if
Like
that Dwele-
Dwele's Subject album, man.
Not just that. Like, there's people like Babyface. Like, people don't look at Babyface like that. And I'm looking and I'm thinking, because I'm a fan of R&B. I'll play R&B over hip hop most of the time. So I'm thinking, if you look at what Babyface done with John B especially, I said fuck. I said Flowetry as well. No. Babyface never worked with Flowetry.
No,
but like
they were on.
They were on the.
It was that kind of vibe.
Yeah, they had a few things, and then there was obviously like people like Brian McKnight and other stuff. And you just look at R&B, and you're just like, now anyway, and you're just like, come on, like bring this back. Like I want this.
Well, it's crazy, isn't it? It's like you see artists like A. Marie, who is nothing really now in terms of like modern music, but when she first came out, like her first projects, like
she was
those
cold.
were making
She was cold.
Headway. Yeah,
she was cold.
Like,
what was that tune? I don't know if you I'm assuming you know music videos as well. Like there's a music video that she did when it's like Once Upon a Time in New York or something like that, like Summertime in New York or something like that. I forgot the record. I'm so sorry, but it's a part of one of her 1-2 projects. But that one, I said, yeah, A. Marie, over one thing, bruv, my bad boy. She was
crazy,
good,
but
and then
like Erykah Badu around that time and everything. But
cold.
I think that's the thing, isn't it? It's like you learn about that stuff later, Like, I only learnt about like the Soulquarians and like Questlove and all that side of things, and Dilla as well, like so much later down the line. But I'd been listening to them for years.
You just
You
never
know,
noticed.
Yeah,
They say with me with like bashment and dancehall and reggae records, they just play them. My friends would just play them,
yeah,
and I'm thinking, yo, this is sick. I don't even know the artist.
yeah,
I don't look. It's on, maybe on a playlist, or no, not a playlist. Sorry, like a mix on SoundCloud. They don't even. Sometimes they don't even put the artist names and whatever.
yeah.
And I'm just hearing bare tunes, and I'm just thinking, this is sick. I want to know what this is. But people don't even. Sometimes people don't even know the artist
Yeah.
until later on, maybe
It's
a year
mad,
to
innit?
10 years later. And it's